Hello everyone and welcome into Speaking of Diamonds. My name is Rich, your host, and today I'm very excited to kick off the start of a series of videos that really delve into some of the basics of diamond painting that is meant to help folks that are new to the craft, but also folks that have been with the craft for a while. Hey, you want to listen along? Maybe you'll pick something up. Maybe you'll get reminded of something. Who knows? But today, we're starting with the topic of diamond painting pens. And this is a topic that I am passionate about. I love my diamond painting pens, and I have a collection, we'll just put it that way. I want to talk a little bit about, like a diamond painting or a diamond painting pen 101, a little bit from start to finish of how you are able to get a pen, what to look for in a pen, what to consider when purchasing a pen, what have you. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, here we have the two basic types of pens that come with most kits these days. Here we have the Diamond Art Club pen that is pre-filled with putty or the white wax, the clear wax. It comes with the multi-placer that you could put the putty or the wax in as well. And these are relatively new to Diamond Art Club, and I know that they've made some improvements. For example, here this has the plastic tip, and I know that they have put in the brass tip to their newer pens, the brass tip that we find on these type of pens. Now this is the old school type of pen that would come with your kits, and they would typically have one of these cushy hold on things, to make it a little bit thicker, easier to hold. And then you could put your multi-placer on the other side if you chose to multi-place, right? Now, these pens, they work 100%. They absolutely work. And if they work for you, fantastic. Then you may just want to listen to this video for just additional information, not that you may be looking to get a custom made diamond painting pen. However, these pens do present some challenges to folks. Most notably with this one is the size. I know that I have carpal tunnel, and holding something this small for long periods of time is going to hurt my hand. It's going to start hurting. My hand's going to go numb, and I'm not going to enjoy my diamond painting experience. This one, I tend to hold my pens closer to the tips. So having this like ridge and opening here is very uncomfortable for me. Okay. To hold it all the way up here, I feel like I lose some of the control. This is just not a comfortable pen for me to hold. It is thicker, so I appreciate that, but it's just not something that is super comfortable for me. So I made the decision to explore options, right? So I will tell you, back in the day, when I used to have to walk uphill both ways in the snow to get my diamond paintings, we did not have pen turners and custom pens. You made your own. What this is a pen that regular, it's like a rollerball gel ink pen. That came with my planner one year. Has a nice rubberized tip on it, and it has, typically it would have the what is it, 3 colors here, what have you. Very nice pen, relatively comfortable to hold. Well, what we would do back in the day is you would take one of these straw pens and replace the innards of the pen with the straw pen to get your diamond painting tip on whatever pen you wanted to. So what was sort of cool is that you would find a pen that you felt was comfortable, and then you were able to diamond paint with it. This is one that I just put together today for an example. Back in the day, there was a ergonomic pen that was curved, and it was it was like a little bit wider down towards the tip of the pen, and it felt super in my hand. So I had customized that with putting the diamond painting pen inside. And just to show you, here is, I mean, literally, I cut down the pen and stuck it in here. Okay. The key is, or the difficult thing is, just to find a pen that was wide enough inside to accommodate the straw pens. But this is what we would do for custom pens. Now we have the ability to choose from a whole array of shapes and sizes and materials and mechanics. And I want to talk a little bit about those here today. So I'm going to go ahead and take these original items over here, and let's start by, let's see, I think I want to start by talking about how pens, well, first of all, let me just show you a couple examples. Let's do that. I'll just grab a couple off of my place here, and we'll just talk about them. So these are typically some examples of some custom pens, right? So here we have, this is just straight up resin with various colors in it. It has some glitter, has the 2 holes on either side, and it's thicker. This feels really good in my hand. I like using this. I like the heft of the pen. This one is also resin. It's shorter. Okay, so you see already we're having different sizes, shapes, and width of pen. And this one is made of, it has like these stones, crushed stones. I think they call them opals or something. I forget what they are. But this is a really cool looking pen. I like it. And it's super lightweight, which is fantastic, but it's made out of resin, and then it has these items in there. I call them inclusions, things that they are included in the pen. And with this sort of minimal turning style with the little trenches here and stuff like that. So super nice pen, like that one. Now this one is a pen that is, get rid of the washi tape that's in the end. This pen is infused with diamond dust, actual diamond dust, and they come with like certificates of authentication. You'll see a lot of the turners have this type of blank, and it just has this very pretty shimmer, and I think it's so appropriate to have a pen for diamond painting that has diamonds in it, right? So already you can see that there are some differences to materials, length, width, what have you, and let's talk about them. But before we talk about more about the pens in general, I want to start with some basics of how pens are made. I'm going to stop trying to fix that because they're not going to line up. How pens are made and some terminology that you need to know. So here are what are called pen blanks. Okay, these pen blanks are what a pen turner will turn into a pen like this. Okay, so there are 2 different basic types of blanks. You have a round blank, okay, which is circular in shape, and then you have the rectangular blank. Okay. That's the first thing. And then you have the person, when they create these blanks, it's called pouring. They're going to take and mix up some resin, get whatever they want to include in the pen, and then they're going to pour it into a mold, and that will produce the blanks. Now, there's 3 different types of mold things here. Obviously, we have the circular and we have the rectangular, but then look at this one and how much bigger it is than these other ones. So here's the difference. So obviously this is circular. These are poured. When you pour a Sterkel blank, the mold that's used is typically vertical. So you'll have a mold with 6 or 8 holes around it, this size, and the pourer will just pour through the top of it, fill all the holes. They let it cure. It either sits out and cures, they may put it in a low oven, and then they go ahead and take it out of the silicone mold, and then you have your pen blank. This is an example of something that has, picture like a muffin tin, okay, a silicone muffin tin, but instead of muffin circles, it has this rectangle. And there'll be, you know, anywhere 3 to 5, maybe 6 of these rectangles in the mold. They mix up the resin, they pour it in, they're able to put in any inclusions or anything that they want to have in the pen, and you know, maybe mix it up a little bit with a toothpick or something, and then they let this dry and cure, and then you come up with this type of pen blank. Now this one is an example of a pen blank that is poured in a slab, and let me explain that to you. So these are completely smooth on all sides. So that's how I know they come out of a silicone mold. This one have a really rough edge here, plus there's 2 edges that seem to have been cut here, or they're very raw. And this happens to be a Fordite blank. We'll talk about what Fordite is in a little bit. But the way that I know that this was poured in a slab situation is the way this is that would be there, and just picture a big old square or rectangle of this material, okay? And this one, since it's cut on 2 sides, it was probably double the thickness of this. So it was a taller, you know, rectangle or square of this material. They then take a saw and they would cut them up this way, and then they have their individual pen blanks. These type of blanks can also be used for knife handles. They could also be used for palm placers, the pens that you hold in your palm. That's supposed to be very helpful for carpal tunnel, or just really, really thick pens that you can't get out of these blanks because they're just too thin. Okay, so that's the at least the 3 type of ways to make a blank, as far as I know, as far as like the shape and whatnot. But let's take a look at some of these blanks, because blanks can have a variety of material included in them. So first of all of these blanks are made primarily from resin. What is resin? You've probably heard resin. You got acrylic drills, you have resin drills. Same thing. Resin is a plastic. All of these have a base of plastic. So for example, this is a resin pen blank made of resin that just happens to have orange and this sort of yellow greenish glitter in it. This one happens to be resin, and it has this silver glitter in it, maybe some blue coloring. All right. Then what looks like here, this is colored resin that is mixed up and put into the pen as well. This tag says burl. What burl is means that it contains wood. And I'm trying to see here, it must be in here somewhere that there's wood. And that brings me to a good point. Whenever you're shopping for pens, you know, I know everybody thinks about, well, this is what I want my pen to look like. And that's great, that's fantastic. But when you start with a blank, with the exception of this, knowing that it's glitter through and through, your final pen is going to look like a shape of this. But this one having it say burl, there may be wood in here underneath this, this resin. Also, you can see that there is, you know, you have the resin, you have the colored resin here, you got some glitter in here, it looks like, but then there's these little chunks of Fordite. These blanks are going to look completely unique and potentially very different from how they look right now once they're turned. So like I said, right now, this pretty much looks like resin to me with some glitter on the ends, but there may be a nice hunk of burl. Burl is a piece of wood in the center here. And when they go to take some of this resin off to make the pen shapes, that wood would expose itself. Here, the individual pieces of Fordite are going to expose themselves. So just keep that in mind, that what you're seeing goes back to the whole, don't judge a book by its cover. Don't judge a pen by its blank, really, unless you know that it's a solid, you know, if you have a solid black blank, your pen is going to be black, right? Same thing here. But items like this that have inclusions and shapes and stuff like that, we're going to look at these in a second, these are going to look very different. So the first type of blank you have are just these resin with something in it typically, or it can be just a resin blank that maybe is just all color. Like, so instead of the glitter here, it would just be all of this color. That is the like basic blank, if you will. Then you have probably the next most common are the glitter blanks, because glitter is fun. It brings a lot to the pens and stuff like that. So the pourer, the person who's pouring the blank, will mix some glitter in with the resin, and when they pour it in, the way that the resin works is it's my understanding there's like two pieces to it, and when you mix it together, it starts a chemical reaction that starts the hardening process. Well, they time it so when they pour it, all of the glitter doesn't fall down to the bottom. Because, you know, think about if this was liquid or oil or something, you put glitter in it, it's all going to sink to the bottom eventually, right? Or when you bake a cake, all of your nuts, unless you flour them or whatnot, you run the risk of all of the nuts or even chip, you know, sometimes will fall to the bottom. So they time it so that when they pour it, the glitter is still suspended, and then suddenly it gets hard, the resin gets hard around it, and you get this well dispersed glitter. Pouring blanks is very much, it's an art, but it's also very much a science, okay? Now, we already looked at this one that is Fordite. This is an example of an inclusion that may cost you a little bit more money. Because what Fordite is overspray from when they used to paint vehicles. The paint process has changed, so Fordite is not as commonly produced as it used to be. So Fordite is sort of there's a dwindling source of Fordite, let's put it that way. So what do I mean by overspray? Well, let's just picture this being a car going down the assembly line. It's time to paint it, and it's coming down, and maybe it's hung by some hooks, you know, from the ceiling track, and now it comes in, and all of a sudden there's the spray robots and stuff like that you know, and it's spraying the paint as it's moving, and it's getting it from the sides and whatnot. Well, all around this you have the track that the car body is traveling on, you have the floor, you have machinery, you have walls, what have you. They're also getting paint on them. When you chip it off, you will get a piece of Fordite, which will look like one of the pieces of Fordite in here. And what it is it's simply layer upon layer upon layer of paint. It's called Fordite because, you know, obviously the father of cars manufacturing line was Henry Ford. However, that doesn't mean that it's just Fords. I've seen special ones labeled like Corvette Fordite, and Corvette is a Chevy, I believe, but you have the specific colors that a Corvette would be painted. There's also garbage truck Fordite. There's also, I've seen bus Fordite. There's also things that are considered a form of Fordite that is not is not for a car. There's Surfite. And what Surfite is it is the overspray from spraying surfboards. The only difference, I mean, it's still paint. The only difference is that obviously when it comes to Fordite, you're going to see your typical car colors. You're not going to see a lot of wild colors. When you look at a piece of Corvette, there's probably going to be a lot of red and a lot of black because sports cars are usually black, red, or silver, right? So you may not have as much color in the Fordite. Funkite or Surfite, two different kinds of, like Funkite is a type of Fordite that the paint is reactive to black light. So it's usually used, I mean, I guess you could paint a car with it, but it's usually used with the surfboards and stuff like that. But with surfboards, think about all the different colors that a surfboard can be. You know, typically they're very colorful. They may have a nautical or a beach look to them, what have you. It's just going to be a different type of color wave in that Fordite. And then the Funkite would be things that you could shine a black light on and it would glow. Okay. Fordite is going to cost more money because, number one, it's a dwindling source. All right, so there's the rarity to it. Plus, turning the blank. So the way that these blanks are turned is, and they're both handled the same way, the turner will drill holes in either end and put them on a lathe that have these little things that poke in here. And then it starts turning at a high rate of speed. And then they come in with their tools and they're going to shape it. They're going to dig into it to give it different shapes and stuff like that. If you've ever seen anybody use a lathe to turn like the staircase spindles, things like that, it's the same process. It's just a different, it's not wood, could be wood, but in this case, it's not wood. Well, working on something like this is pretty straightforward. The first step with a square or a blank is they're going to make it round. So they're going to make it into this. But there's a benefit to the squares we'll talk about for a second. When this is spinning around, you have these inclusions here that are a different hardness than the resin. So Fordite pens take a little bit more care to turn. Here's another example of a Fordite blank. Maybe a little bit harder to see, but there's not as much Fordite. There's more of the resin. So this may be a little bit easier for someone to turn, but they still have to be careful with that resin in there. This is a hybrid pen blank. So what a hybrid means is it is partial resin and then usually it's partial wood. So this is some type of wood. I forgot the type of tree that this came from, but it's been dyed blue. All right, so they can dye the wood to give you the colorful pens and stuff like that. And then this is all resin. This would turn much like these, except now you have the difference of the hardness of the resin and then the wood. And depending on what type of wood, it could be a hardwood, softwood, what have you. But they're turned much in the same way as these. So when you go to purchase blanks like this, oh, and this one is just, it's simply resin, but it's two different kinds of resin, two different colors. And usually what is used to make these shapes is some type of 3D printed mold. Okay, so they'll print this, this diamond shape mold, and then they'll put it into the mold itself, and then they pour the orange inside and then the blue on the outside, and they let it cure. So there could very well be some 3D printed material in here, which is fine. That is just also plastic, a type of plastic. Now, when it comes to purchasing these blanks, where do you go to purchase them? Well, there's a bevy of blank pourers on Facebook, in the different Facebook groups. There are a bevy of pen turners out there. So the first thing you want to do is just Google pen turners, or talk to your friends in the diamond painting community, or ask in groups, say, hey, does anyone know of a good pen turner or a blank pourer? And sometimes the pen turner and the blank pourer are one and the same, but sometimes the pen turner wants to focus on making the final art of the pen, whereas so they don't pour blanks, but you can have other company blanks sent to them for turning. Okay, so in purchasing these, when it comes to cost, typically these would be your least expensive, just because they are relatively inexpensive to make, resin and glitter, right? Then you have these. I'm going to say probably these are maybe tied for cost, because here you have resin and wood. This one may even be a little bit more expensive because the wood is dyed. And then this one, you have this special, actually I'm going to say this one is probably the next expensive, because this one, they have to take great care in pouring it to make sure that they don't get the blue and with the orange, etc. And then your Fordite, usually these are going to be the most expensive ones. There is also, I don't have a straight up blank here, but there's also 100% wood, okay? And those probably fall, depending on the type of wood, probably fall somewhere around here when it comes to affordability of purchasing the blanks. So I know that a lot of my blanks, I'm part of the Facebook groups for pen turners, or Instagram groups for pen turners, and I see when people post, hey, I've made some blanks, and they're going to go to the pen turner that the page it's posted on. However, there is one gentleman, Rapture Resins. They are on Facebook. They will have auctions, and they will auction off, I think all of these are Rapture Resins, so you can tell I like Rapture Resins. But he'll put up the blank and you bid on it, and if you win it, you win it, and then you can have it sent to any pen turner that you would like to use. Or in my case, sometimes it's sent to me so that I can get them turned when I'm able to afford them. Okay. Typical costs, if it's an auction, obviously it can go anywhere, but typically I would see pen blanks from anywhere from maybe $12 to $20, whereas Fordite, I would probably see from $20 to maybe $40, depending on how much Fordite it is, what kind of Fordite it is, etc. So the first step is you purchase some blanks. If this intimidates you, find a pen turner, find a blank turner, and talk to them about what you're looking for. Talk to them about the colors that you're looking for. Talk to them about what you are looking to be included in your pen. One of the things that I really enjoy is pens that have inclusions in them, and we'll take a look at some of them in a second. But I like when there are there's blanks out there that have feathers in them, that have flowers in them, that have pine cones in them, that have seed pods in them. I think they're just so unique, and I love having something that's sort of natural encased in this plastic. And then of course I like the Fordite, not necessarily a natural, but it's absolutely beautiful, and a callback to days of yore, if you will. So talk to your pen turners, talk to your blank pourers, let them know, you want a blank like this, but you want it to be silver glitter with blue highlights or something. They can totally do that for you. Okay. Once you get your blank, it needs to go off to the pen turner. And like I said, it's either something like you have it sent to yourself and then you send it off to your pen turner as you can afford to do so, or they'll send it right to the pen turner. Now, let's talk about timing, because timing is very important when it comes to getting custom-made pens. Most of the time, the blanks that people are selling are made. So you buy this blank, they're going to pop it in the mail to you or to their turner, and you or the turner is going to get it within a week, okay, depending on where you're located, but they're going to get it relatively soon. However, if, for example, let's say this blank is up for auction and there's only one of them, or maybe there's only one of them, you found it, you purchased it, and all of your friends go, oh my gosh, this is so beautiful, I want one of these blanks. You can ask them if they will remake it, the pourer, if they would remake it. Typically they need a picture so they know exactly what you're talking about, and most of the time they're able to recreate that pen blank. However, remember when I said those molds have 3, 4, 5, 6 rectangles in them? They're going to ask, usually, they're going to ask for a minimum purchase. So Rapture Resins, I think he said, I think his minimum is 3. So if you want something, and this isn't a commercial for Rapture Resins, it's just like, clearly I buy a lot from them, so I know his rules a little bit better. But if I wanted to have this remade, off the screen here, if I wanted to have this remade, I would have to order 3 of them. So what does that mean? I have to have 3 of the same pens? Absolutely not. You talk to your friends, does anybody want a pen like this? I will sell you the blank. They're $12 a piece or whatever the case may be, I'll sell you the blank. Or you can post in the different groups, even the Rapture Resin group, and be like, I'm having this remade. Does anybody want one of the blanks? I only need 1. I got 2 for sale. They're $12 a piece, what have you. Okay. So just keep that in mind when you're looking for blanks. Okay. So they're typically ready-made, but if you have to special order them, that's going to take a while because you're not their only customer. All right. And there seems to be a rash of people in the diamond painting community that thinks that they are the only people in the diamond painting community and they should get their stuff within days. That's not how it happens. First of all, this typically has to cure overnight. So it's at least going to take 2 days. And then, obviously they're making other blanks or they're turning other pens. So you get in line. Some pourers or turners are maybe better at communicating than others, but they all are very open. If you ask them, hey, where is my pen blank? Where is my pen being turned? What have you? Most of them will give you that information. Just don't ask them every other day. If they say, hey, I'm going to get to your pen next week. If you hear nothing next week, then contact them maybe towards the end of the week. I know there's one pen turner that what they do is when they get the blanks, so let's say they get these 3 blanks that they're going to be turning for me. Rapture Resin has sent it directly to them. What they're going to do is they're going to put it in a drawer. And that drawer is going to be my drawer, and it's going to have a number. So let's say I'm drawer number 50. What they do then is in their pen turning group, every week they say, I'm going to be working on pen drawers blank to blank, 45 to 47. So I know my pen's not being turned that week, but it is coming up. Once I see that, hey, drawer 50 is going to be made this week, then they're going to contact me and they're going to say, okay, what type of shapes do you like? What have you? And then they'll arrange for payment for the turning. Okay. So this is a process. It is not going to happen quickly. Now, if the pen is pre-made, sure, they're going to drop the pen in the mail, but just think about redoing a kitchen. If you go to IKEA and say, these cabinets are perfect, these are the cabinets that I want, they're going to be delivered to your house quicker than if you go, you know what, I want something custom. I want to change the color. I want to change maybe the shape that is carved into the door. I want a special size because, you know, I like to store pans of a certain size in these cabinets. I need something a little bit wider than you have. When you customize like that, it takes longer. So if this blank is good for you, you're going to get it quick. But if you wanted this with some purple in it, they're going to have to make that. And that's going to take some time because you're customizing. Okay. So we have our drills. We've waited patiently, or I'm sorry, we have our blanks. We've waited patiently for any customization that we've done. The blank pourer has now sent it off to the turner of our choice or to us so that we can sort of control the outflow of money here. Or they happen to be a pen turner as well, and they're going to turn the pens. They contact you and they're going to say, how do you want your pen turned? I'm going to set these just off to the side. And now let's talk about some ways that a pen can be turned. And I also want to talk a little bit more about different types of pens that have different stuff in it, okay? And why you may want to have some of these pens made. So we talked about the basic resin pen, okay? And these are pretty much, you know, this is a basic resin pen with some glitter. This is a basic resin pen with a pen with some diamond dust in it. That's like the starting point, if you will. Depending on the turner, typically they have a turning fee that is specific to the material that the pen is made out of. So for example, let's just say that I'm a pen turner and I say resin pens are $30 to turn. So this pen is going to cost me $30 to make a blank into this pen, okay? So I've paid, what, maybe 12 bucks for the blank? Now I'm paying $30 to turn it, so $42 for the pen. However, there are also resin pens that have unique things done to them. So first of all, here's a resin pen. This is sort of unique. It's all black, and then you see it has this rainbow going through it. And this reminded me of Dark Side of the Moon. Sort of reminded me of that, and I thought it was unique, and I just really liked it. So I got this. It's all resin. So in my example earlier, this would be $30 to turn if I were the pen turner. And it's all resin. We're good to go. Now, what the pen turner is going to ask you is, what shapes do you like and how thick do you want it? So again, as you can see, we have varying, this one is very thick, this one is sort of medium, and then this one is very thin. So you need to know what type of grip you like. How do you get to know that? Well, you use a bunch of pens, okay? In order, the first pen that you order, the first custom pen that you order may or may not be the perfect pen for you. So for example, if I got this pen, I may go, you know what, this is a little too thick for me. I don't like it. I want something thinner. And you're going to play Goldilocks, and then you're going to get something like this and go, this is still a little too thick. I don't know that I like it. And then you're going to get this and you're going to go, oh, this is perfect. Or any combination of the two or three, okay? So they're going to ask you shape. As you can see just from some of the examples here, there's just a myriad of shapes that can be done. Typically, pen turners will offer specific shapes. They can say we can do these bumpy, we can do it, ridges, we can do what, something, they'll call it something, or they'll show you pictures, which type of turning shape do you like? Usually what pen turners won't do is copy another pen turner's pen. So for example, this one here, this shape, a pen turner made this shape, and I really like these ends, but I can't take a picture of this and send it to another pen turner and say, I want it turned exactly like this, because they respect the artistry of the pen, and they don't want to necessarily copy another person who turned a pen. However, I can say, I like this type of ends. I don't care what else you do to it. And they can, they'll try their best to give me this type of end and what have you. So you can ask for specifics such as that, but you can't say, make me the exact duplicate of this. All right, so you got the thickness. Now you have length. Typically blanks are, I believe it's 5 1/4, but you see that this one that came from the slab is a little bit longer. Okay, there are blanks that are a little bit shorter. So you can have pens of all different lengths. So let me grab a couple here. Let's do this one. Okay, all of these, the resin piece at least, we'll talk about this one in a couple minutes, but the resin itself are all different sizes and shapes for that matter. So you have this one is long, this one is even a little bit longer. Here the resin is only this much of the pen, and then this one is even sort of like a happy medium between the two. Why does length matter? Well, it's all about comfort, and it's all about how you diamond paint. Most people, when they diamond paint, they're going to have a single placing end. Let me use one of these because it's a traditional. You're going to have your single placing end, and then you're going to have your multi-placing end. And you're going to be diamond painting, and then you're going to flip the pen, and then you're going to multi-place, then you're going to flip the pen, and you're going to single place, etc., right? Some people prefer smaller pens, and they call them flippers, because they're easier to flip. Some people like longer pens because they are just a little bit more substantial, okay? You can still flip them. They may not be as easy as a small flipper, but nonetheless, you can still flip them. So it's all a matter of preference. So how do you know which one you like? You try pens of different sizes. What I really recommend when you're first starting out, join some of the D-stash groups, because you will get some pens that at a very good price that you can try out. Okay, so if I were to get this pen, I can use it and go, you know what, I don't like long, or I want it thicker, I want it thinner, whatever the case may be. Maybe I purchased it not even caring what it looked like, because I just wanted to see what this felt like. And eventually, when you purchase a couple of them and you get, you use them a little bit, you go, okay, I know exactly what I want now. I want thick, thin, I want this shape, blah, 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 blah. And then you can start looking at the custom pens. And then eventually you can then re-destash these pens and make some money back on them, and let someone else experiment with them as well. All right, so we have length, we have thickness. Let's talk about the ends. So the ends, all of my pens, with the exception of these special ones here, all of my pens have a hole drilled in them that will accept the tips that have without the threading, okay? So I just push them in, and then it's secured into the pen. However, there are tips out there that screw into the pens. So if you need, depending on what type of tips you use, if you need it to have the grommet added to take the screw-in tips, let your pen turner know. There's usually a small charge because it's an extra piece that goes into the pen, but they're happy to do it for you if they're able. Okay, and most of them, like DAC, started coming out with their threaded tips, and it caught the pen turners were just a little bit behind because they didn't have the equipment to do it, and now most of them do. So you just need to ask for it. Now, bonus tip. I see this question so many times. My tip is falling out of my pen. I can't get it to fit in the pen. It won't stay in the pen. All right, so let's talk about this. So you have 1,000,001 pen turners out there making pens to fit either the most basic of plastic tips that come with every single diamond painting pen in the world, or a handful of companies that make these metal type placers. They may not fit exactly, and that's fine because they're not supposed to. You don't want, well, first of all, because different manufacturers, right, and different people making things. You always want the pen to perhaps be a little bit larger than the size of your tip, so that when you're putting it in, it does come out quite easily. The reason for that is this is plastic. It's not indestructible. If I'm jamming this tip in here, I could break the pen. So if it's a little bit larger than the size of the tip, what very common, very, very common. A lot of people are just like, oh, this is a horrible fix. No, actually, it's very common. You put a little washi tape around the end of the tip, or you put a little hot glue in the end of your pen, and you put this in, and now it's in there very securely. And both of these have a washi tape on them. Now, I said hot glue. Can you use, a lot of people say, can I use super glue? You can. Just keep in mind, you're never getting that tip out of the pen. And how often do you change the size of your multiplacer? Or if it's this type of pen, I am constantly like nicking. This is just brass. This is a brass tip, which is a soft metal. I'm constantly nicking it, and it becomes deformed, right? And it stops picking up drills as well. Well, if I've super glued this in, I'm never getting this out. I could take just the brass piece out, but typically you replace the entire thing. What's nice about hot glue is that all you have to do is break that glue and it comes right out. And then you can put more hot glue in and put a new tip in. So it really depends. My first go-to is washi tape because I have it there. I've probably used it on the border of my painting. I have it right there at my desk. The next thing would be a hot glue gun because I have that in the drawer next to my desk. So that's, those are just my preferences. You do what you wish, but it is okay if your tips don't fit the pen. They should be a little bit smaller. If they're larger and you can't get them in, stop and ask the pen turner, send it back to them and ask them to make it just a little bit bigger, because you don't want to force it, because you run the risk of breaking the pen. All right, so now let's talk about what blanks are made of. So we looked at some of the different types of stuff over here, and we talked about the one that has the diamond dust in it. We talked about this one that has, this is some type of coloring and glitter, and then these opal chips in it. Here we looked at Fordite. Here's a Fordite pen. So you can see here the Fordite that's included, and then it has some resin color to it, all right? These are typically very beautiful. I love Fordite. Here's another example of Fordite that is Fordite, but it also has, I think these are some type of flower pods. So to me, this looked like almost like alien-like, that it's like, hey, you know, here's an alien eyeball, but it has Fordite in it as well. And then of course the resin colors. So you could have multiple different inclusions in the pen. Now here's another example of a 3D printed mold. Okay. So this isn't the exact image of this. This is dragon scales. I believe this is the dragon scales. I also have a mermaid scale pen. And that's another reason why you may want to do a custom. Maybe you just are interested in getting custom colors that you enjoy. Or maybe with this one, with the dragon scales, maybe I'm participating in an event that is dragon themed and I want a dragon scale pen. Fantastic. Here we have a hybrid pen. Compare that to these two, which are completely wood. Okay, you can even hear it, like, sounds, that's plastic, this is wood. So here we have the resin, here we have wood with this nice intricate design. Here's a nice wood one that has just little painted areas in here. And then this one is just a very dark wood. I love this dark wood. I'm a dark wood person. I love this dark wood. These are typically a little bit lighter than resin, okay, and or Fordite, well, which is resin, but these are typically lighter, and these make great pens. Then you have 3D printed pens. So these are relatively somewhat new to the community, but these have been printed on a 3D printer. All right, and what they do is it goes ahead and prints it. It makes the shapes and whatnot, and then you have this nice looking pen. This one I recently got. I just got it to show that they've now started putting bling on pens, so you can always get some type of depending on the turner, you can get some type of bling added to the pen. Now, like this one, this opals or whatever they are, they're built into the pen, so I don't feel anything. Here, this one, I feel it rubbing up against my hand, so you need to decide whether or not you like that. Here's another example of, this is a resin pen that has some spiders on it. This is a great Halloween pen. I love you taking this out at Halloween time. However, I need to be careful how I hold it, that the spider is not rubbing against my hand. It's just a tactical thing for me. You may not even notice it, but for me it is a challenge. So typically I don't like the embellishments and stuff like that. There's other types out there. There's one that's called a captive ring, where it'll be a resin pen, and like, see where this sort of donut in the center is here? What they'll do is they'll carve this entire thing so it's separate from the pen, and then it sort of just floats back and forth as you turn your pen. That may work for some people, may not work for some people. But these 3D printed pens, these are super lightweight, okay? So if you want a super lightweight pen, you may want to look into a 3D printed pen. You can also get the different shapes, the different sizes, whatnot. These are also some of these, and I think, was it this one? Yes, this one is hollow. So when I took this off, I could see light through this end. So this will be compatible with the new E-pens that are out there. You plug it in one side, and then you have your tip, and typically these tips have a little hole in them, so these will work. Typically, if you use a metal multiplacer, they don't have the holes in them, so it won't work, but this would be compatible with the new E-pen. This one, sort of cool, this one has stuff in it to make it a rain stick. Now, do you remember, like, back in the 90s going to the mall, and I think there was a store called Natural Wonders, and they had all the, like, geodes and those thermometers that the things float based on the temperature. You had the CDs of the whale sounds or the rainforest sounds, all the things. Well, they had rain sticks that when you hold it and you move it up and down, like something inside, beads or beans or something, are moving through an internal structure, and it sounds like rain. So let me hold this one up to the microphone and see if I can get you to hear this. I don't know if you could hear that, but it's sort of, at first I thought that's going to annoy me, but it's actually sort of soothing when diamond painting. So then you have, let's see, that's resin. We talked about this. Here we have some pens that are made of clay. And however, what we want to understand is if you look at the center of these, does that look familiar? These are made with the pink stick pens as the base. And what the creator does is he just puts some clay on the outside, they add some paint or color, some shaping, what have you, and then they let these cure, and then you're able to use these. These are also very lightweight, and they're also short. So these make great flippers if you like flippers, okay? So you got those type of pens. Here we even have, this one is a lava pen. So you have those pens that things move up and down because there's the water inside. That's exactly what this is, okay? You could sort of see everything moving in the center. So again, you're single placing, boom, boom, boom. You go turn it and your stuff is gonna start floating down. This is actually from a company that has also added a feature called Roll Stop. And what that is this side of the pen here, see if I'm showing that, this is not rounded. Okay, so the whole pen is round except for this right here.
We apologize for the delay. We appreciate your patience. Please continue to hold for our next available agent.
Sorry, I had to stop the recording there. Someone was at the front door selling services. But as I was talking about before, this side of the pen is flat, and the purpose of these is when if you work on a slanted surface, when you set them down, they don't roll off your slanted surface. Even if you're in a flat surface, these pens are always rolling off my flat desk. This one won't do that, okay? And you typically want those with the lava pens because you don't want this to fall and break. But any pen, and this is the only place I know of that does this, certainly just ask around, or I will post some of these turners and pourers down below, and I'll note which one has this pen stop. Oh, here's my mermaid pen. This is the mermaid scales that maybe I want to use this for right now. Mermaids and magic is going on. So maybe I want to have a mermaid pen and I could go ahead and use this one. But same concept, 3D printed mold here. Now we have, so this is a very unique pen. This is a unique pen. There's a company out there called Bistro Blanks that does these like character pens, or they include, like I have another one that has Cruella de Vil in it with a puppy, what have you. And this one is Audrey Hepburn. And I have a big picture of Audrey Hepburn that I want to do and to diamond paint, and I'm going to use this pen. And it sort of has like diamonds in the background. These pens are typically thicker because they have to include either the photo or charms or whatever they're putting in the center of it. So just keep that in mind. Now, oh, I wanted to show this one really quick too. This pen, this is a resin pen. However, here's one of those weird inclusions that I'm very excited about. This is shark vertebrae. The pink and the white stuff here is shark vertebrae. I've seen things that have like tusks in them, all the natural stuff. As long as it is soft enough to turn, they can put it in a pen. But I bought this one specifically because it was different, and that's a natural element in the plastic, and it said something to me. Now these pens are resin, but they're a completely different animal. These are Ivy Dazzlers. And what these are is it's a resin pen. Okay, both of these are resin. As you can see, this one is much longer. The resin part is there. They have the option of getting drilled on the end for your multi-placers. But take a look at the tip. This is a steel tip that's painted. And how this works is they embed this metal screw device in the resin. And then what you do is you fill the tip with your putty or wax of choice. And then you screw it on. And as you screw it on, as you reach the point where the putty is, it will start coming out. And I don't know if you can see that or not, but I have a little bead of putty coming out of the tip here. Here's another one, different colorway. They come with these O-rings, or you can get the O-rings. Sorry, you don't come with it. You can order them. Because when you, like here, this one, I don't have much putty in. I'm almost out of putty, and I know that because my tip is almost screwed all the way to the resin. This one is freshly filled. Well, if I didn't have these O-rings, what you would see there would be the screw, the screw itself, okay? This is not comfortable to hold on to. This is, the rubber is, okay? Now, where have we seen this type of technology before? Don't let anyone kid you. This is this type of technology, and this was, as far as I know, these were around first, okay? This is just a plastic version of this steel and resin pen. Okay, these are fantastic. I love Ivy Dazzlers. Okay, so that's all the different types of things that they can be made of. So let's talk about when you're ordering the pen, do you want thick, medium, or thin? A lot of the pen turners say, do you want it thick, medium, or thin? Again, you can try out the different sizes and see what you like. There are days that I like a thick pen. There are days that I like a thin pen. It all depends on how my hands are feeling that day, okay? However, once you find out what you like, so let's say I start using this pen and man, I really like how this feels in my hand. I don't have to switch it out because it's comfortable. It doesn't aggravate my carpal tunnel or whatever. Get yourself a measuring tape and measure wherever you hold your pen. You hold it down here, or if you hold it up here, measure wherever you're holding your pen, and that number of centimeters is what you are going to want your pen turned to. Some places will say, okay, do you want thick? It's this centimeter between this centimeter. Do you want thin? It's this centimeter. You know where you're gonna fall in that category. If the turner doesn't have specific measurements assigned to thick, medium, or thin, what they can do is, as this is turning on the lathe, they're going to take a caliper, they're going to come in here, they're going to go, oh, okay, this is 4 millimeters or 6 millimeters or whatever, and how large they want their pen, they refer to their notes, okay, this still has a little bit more to go. So that's how you customize the size. You tell them, you can tell them the actual measurement of how what is that, the circumference of the pen, or you can see where the circumference falls within their measurements of their on their website or what have you. Just the key is, as with anything, cooking. What do they tell you about using salt in recipes? Start small, you could always put in more salt. If you put in the whole heaping shaker of salt and you got a salt party going on in your soup, can you get that salt out? No, you can't. Yeah, you can maybe like cook a potato in there and it's supposed to take some of the saltiness out, but really the salt's in there. So if you are going to order a pen and you're not completely certain, start with a thicker pen, because most pen turners, all the pen turners that I know of, they want you to be happy with your product. So if you get this and you go, this is just a little bit too thick, you can send it back to them and say, could you thin it down just a little bit? They can do that, get it back to you, and get the pen that you use exactly. But what I really recommend is whatever type of pen, even if this is an ink pen, if this is the type of pen that I like, this is comfortable for my hand, measure the circumference and give that to the pen turner so that they can turn to your customized size. Okay, so we have blanks, we got the turning styles, the various shapes. You know, some people, I don't I don't care for, it's not sharp, but I'm going to call it like a sharp, sudden bump, okay? This shape is very odd to me that I have one big side and one thin side. So this is a pen that I have mostly just for the inclusions. I don't use it all that much. I like to have a pen that is sort of symmetrical on either side. So no matter if I'm single placing or multi-placing, it's the same. But you can send your turner pictures and be like, this is what I like, this is what I don't like, what have you. Or you can also typically ask your pen turner, you know what, turn the pen to complement the blank. And what's nice about that is, like for this one, I specified the ends because I like the shape of the ends, but then I said, do whatever you want in the center. And what the turner does is they see where this Fordite is laying, or where the color shifting is laying, or where the hybrid area changes, and they will carve the pen or turn the pen to sort of accentuate the blank itself. All right. Now, like for this one, where the plastic meets the wood, this is an inherent weak point. Okay, you have plastic and wood butted up together, so they were smart not to do these deep grooves right here where it meets, because then you're weakening the pen. All right, and on that note, just keep in mind that all of these resin pens, they will break. If there's plenty of people talk about, oh my gosh, my pen rolled off my desk and it broke. It happens. You can super glue them together, or send it to a turner and have them super glue it together, see if there's anything they could do, like if there's a little chip missing. Typically what they'll do is they'll put it back on the lathe, they'll glue it together, put it back on the lathe, and then they coat it with essentially super glue to fill in that hole. They typically charge for that, but it's usually not too exorbitant. Now, also, don't sell our diamond painting turners short, because typically our diamond painting turners can also do pens. And I've gotten all of these from diamond painting or people in the community that turn diamond painting pens. They also will turn regular pens. So like here is a Fordite pen. Okay, this is a resin with Fordite. This is actually called dragon scale Fordite. You can see how it's sort of lumpy and stuff, and it looks like dragon scales. But what the pen turner is going to do is they're going to take the blank, they're going to turn it to the side, the shape that they want, and then let me show you this one. Here, the pourer has given the pen turner a direction. It says paint blank black after drilling for best results. So because this is, it looks like it's solid glitter, but it's not. You could probably see through it at some point, especially when the turner starts digging into it. If you don't paint the inside of the hole, you're going to see the innard of the pen, right? So you're going to see any pen that, how does this one come apart? This one probably comes apart a little bit easier. You're going to see the cartridge that goes into the pen. You're going to see that. So what they do is they paint the inside of the blank so that you don't see the cartridge, and they usually will paint it black or some type of color that will disguise the cartridge as it goes through the blank. Okay, now when it's, I'm going to leave that one apart. When it's something more solid, like this one, even with the glitter, they're going to have to do that. But here it's resin and wood. You can't really see through it. They're not going to necessarily have to paint it, but they still may if they're going to turn it into a regular pen. So here, the one that I have dismantled and can't quite get back together, I'm trying to get it, there we go, into the spring here. This one is a wood burl, okay, that has been turned into a very simple shape. And then they have what are called pen kits that they can buy, and they will then, you know, make the ends compatible with the pen tips or the pen kit, and then you have a whole pen. What's nice about these is you can specify, I want gold metallic, I want pewter metallic, I want a special shape. So like this one has the anchor and it has the ship wheels here, and here is like a relief of a ship, and you got like the ship rope. This is, you know, this would be my fancy going on a cruise pen. I want to go and do, you know, word puzzles or something on deck. I may bring this one because it's nautical themed or what have you. So they can do ballpoint. They can do your gel or rollerball pens. Here's one that has, it has these honeycombs on it a little bit. That's very much like one of these. Okay, it's formed with those molds, and then it's just a regular swirl resin down at the bottom. Put a pen tip kit on it. This one, this is a roller ball, and this is a 4-8. This is, look at, it's like almost all 4-8 with a little bit of resin. This one is also 4-8, but I had a fountain pen kit put in this one. So they can also do these regular writing pens. And what I like about that is these make great gifts for non-diamond painters, right? So if I know that I have a friend who loves this color wave, have it made into a pen, and now you have a nice gift, a nice custom gift made for somebody, and you're also supporting someone in the diamond painting community. All right. I think I'm looking, I've covered everything that I needed to cover. We talked about the holes, threaded versus not threaded. We talked about the washi tape hack of getting the ends stuck in there. And then we talked about the time. Just keep in mind that with all of this, if the pen is already made or the blank is already made, you're gonna get it pretty quick. If you are customizing, just like if you were to customize anything else, you're going to have to wait for it, and you need to be patient because you are not the only person ordering a custom pen from these turners or pourers. So I hope that has helped you see the myriad of materials that pens can be made of, what can be in them. A little bit about the shapes of the pens really is up to you and the pen turner. The length of the pens, why you may want a shorter one versus a longer one, if you like embellishments on your pens or not. And then of course, alternative to regular, you know, diamond painting tip pens, you have the Ivy Dazzlers here with the sort of the hydraulic almost type thing where you're applying pressure to have the putty come out of the end. So I hope that's helped. Please post any questions that you may have down in the comments of the video. I love talking about pens. Someday I will get the courage up to show off my collection of pens, which is very extensive, almost embarrassingly extensive probably. You know, can take a look at that. Now that I've been diamond painting since 2018, and this is what I started with, okay? It took me a lot of time and a lot of different things to find out that I typically like a thicker pen and I like a longer pen, okay? Does that mean I don't use this one? Absolutely not. there's a time and a place I want to use this one. Do I use these? Not usually, but I wanted to try them, so I tried them, and now I can maybe go and destash these and let somebody else try them. I love my Ivy Dazzlers. I love the wood ones. I love the pattern ones for the different, you know, to sort of match your canvas a little bit, and or if you're doing an event, or in this case, match the subject of your canvas as well. So post any questions down below, and please go ahead and give this a thumbs up if you got anything out of this video, even if it's just, oh wow, look at the pretty pens. Give me a thumbs up, that really does matter. And if you want more of this sort of diamond painting 101 type content, make sure that you subscribe. And as I come up with these videos and post them, they'll be on their own playlist of sort of like a Diamond Painting 101 playlist, and tell you what the subject is. In this case, it would be pens. So thanks everybody. I hope you got something out of this. Again, give me any questions down below. If I can't answer it, I'll get it out to a pourer or a turner and see what they can help me with. As always, there's no right or way to diamond paint. So you like a nice heavy long pen, a lighter wood pen, or the thinnest of the thinnest with bling on it, you do you. I will talk to you next time we are speaking of diamonds. Bye-bye.